Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to start going through a lot of newspaper articles that I've been collecting from mostly the 1800s, some a little bit earlier, but I've gone through newspaper after newspaper clippings and tried to get the ones on petrification and giants and underground cities and things like that because that's what I'm interested in. So the first one is from the Aberdeen News, 1899, entitled Petrified Water. That beautiful transparent stone called Tabriz marble, much used in the burial places of Persia and in their grandest edifices, consists of the petrified water of ponds in certain parts of the country. This petrification may be traced from its commencement to its termination. In one part, the water is clear. In a second, it appears thicker and stagnant. In a third, quite black. And in its last stage, it is white like frost. When the operation is complete, a stone thrown on its surface makes no impression, and one may walk over it without wetting one's shoes. The substance thus produced is brittle and transparent, and sometimes richly striped with red, green, and copper color. So much is this marble, which may be cut into large slabs, looked upon as a luxury that none but the king, his sons, and persons especially privileged are permitted to take it. So I thought that was interesting because marble, I did not know, came from petrified water ponds. And yeah, so that's that one. Okay, this one is from 1891, a petrified manfish. Cedro, Washington. John Hopp has a curiosity on exhibition at his store, which we think we are safe in saying no one in this locality has ever seen the like before. It is a specimen of the manfish and was found in the wind caves of the Badlands in the state of South Dakota. The animal is petrified and is in a perfect state of preservation. The head of the creature is of exactly the same shape as that of the human cranium, only it is much smaller. The eyes, nose, ears, and forehead, in fact every portion of the head, resembles that of a man. The neck is slender and the shoulders uniform, and the entire anatomy appears the same as that of the human body. The arms are perfect, as are also the hands, with the exception of the nails, which have more the appearance of a canine's nail. Then the ribs and spinal column are perfectly formed, making the upper portion of the body as nearly like the form of a man as is possible. Below the ribs, the body resembles that of a fish. The scales and fins are as clearly shown as through the fish had just been taken from the water. The fish, if such it is classed as, was given to him while in Sioux City by a man who had been traveling through western Dakota and Montana collecting specimens. It measures about 14 inches in length and looks quite hideous with the long, thin hair over its head and face. So, there we have a 14-inch specimen of a merman, which is quite interesting. And that was in the Badlands in South Dakota. All right, the next one we have is from 1856, Skeleton of a Giant Found. A day or two since, some workmen engaged in subsoiling the grounds off Sheriff Wickham at the vineyard in East Wheeling came across a human skeleton. Although much decayed, there was little difficulty in identifying it. By placing the bones, which could not have belonged to other than a human body, in their original position, it's blocked out, skeleton in the earth, measured by the sheriff and a brother in the craft locale, both of whom were prepared to swear that it was 10 feet 9 inches in length. Its jaws and teeth were almost as large as those of a horse. The bones are to be seen at the sheriff's office. Okay, so there we have a giant body found that was 10 feet and 9 inches in length. Very crazy. Okay, the next one's going to be from 1895. And this one is a petrified Indian queen, specimen of an ancient race which a trader tried to steal. A curious tale is told by the passengers just arrived at Victoria, British Columbia, from Alaska on the steamer City of Topeka of the discovery made by one of their number, a Seattle man named Brennan, on Prince of Wales Island, says the San Francisco Examiner. Brennan went forth some time ago with a small sloop laden with miscellaneous cargo, on which he realized a good profit trading among the natives of the northern coast. It was on this expedition he chanced to visit one of the largest accessible villages of the isolated tribes on Prince of Wales Island, and while there, to see the mysterious divinity that is supposed to keep watch and guard over the tribe. A former priestess or queen who, by some rare action of the peculiar soil in which her burial place was made, was not turned into dust, but into solid stone. Years later, the rude grave was uncovered by chance, and the petrified body was found. The natives hauled it as an omen of good, and carefully exhuming it, enthroned it in a place of honor in the village, the idol so rescued being ever since more honored than the oldest totem. Brennan claims to be the first white man to see the statue, but so far from feeling awe or being moved to adoration, he at once realized that if it could be safely transported to the United States, it would be worth a mint of money for exhibition purposes. The petrified woman, according to his account, stands as though frozen into the granite while in the act of directing some important movement of her subjects. The features, as well as the limbs, are clearly defined as though life was still in the body, and the whole aspect of the strangely preserved body is almost regal, although the goddess was mistress only of a savage tribe. So much did the commercial value of the image impress the shrewd trader that a few words, incautiously dropped, partially revealed his mind to the tribe, with the result that he was obliged to take to his sloop and sail out into the thickening storm in order to save his life. Something has now sold his sloop, and with the proceeds of the sale added to the profits of his cruise, he proposes to purchase a fast steam launch with which to return and bodily abduct the uncanny deity. According to present arrangements, he will buy his launch on Puget Sound and return as quickly as possible to Prince of Wales Island, waiting his opportunity to land, seize the idol, and escape before the natives discover his presence and frustrate his plan. The Stone Queen, according to the tales of the tribe, watched silently over their declining fortunes for upward of 4 centuries. Okay, so there you have a petrified stone queen. And they're all over the place because I have a million articles on them. Okay, this one was 1821. Petrified human bones. Sometime since, there was found in the country de Accountis at Marseilles a quantity of petrified human bones. This fact has given rise to much discussion on the system of petrifications as admitted at the present day by all the learned who have written on the subject. The following statement proves that this is not the first discovery of the kind. Among several curious objects in a cabinet of natural history at Pavia, there was a whole human head petrified. This head, perfectly white, had one cheek incrustated with a piece of rock double its size. The inside of the mouth and something, something, something I can't read it because I have this little bar here where I'm recording, so sorry. I suck at technology. Perhaps an expert sculptor might have imitated in marble the outside of the head, but it had been perfectly impossible to have fashioned tools for working the inside. It would also have been impossible for any artist to have joined the rock and the head. This head was acknowledged genuine by the learned professors of Pavia, among whom were Tissot, Frand, Spallanzani, Scarpa, and many others. This head was hidden during the War of 1796. So we got another human head here. And now we have a petrified bee tree. The Grass Valley National of California says there was found a few days since in the diggings of John Chew and Company on Buckeye Hill in this county between Greenhorn Creek and Chalk Bluff Mountain a bee tree with a beehive, honey, and bees all petrified. The remaining portion of the tree in which the beehive was found was 2.5 feet in diameter and 40 feet long. Chew and Company, while piping their something, found the petrified beehive 75 feet long. Chew and Company, while piping their something, found the petrified beehive 75 feet beneath the surface. The beehive is no matter of fancy, but of pure demonstration. Before us is a sample of the comb full of honey, all petrified. The normal thickness of the comb, the duplicative cells with their invariable hexagonal shape, are all before us as distinctly as a fresh piece of honeycomb, all dripping and just cut from the box, have been brought and placed before our eyes on a sheet of paper. All right, so that's the ones that I have for today. Obviously, petrification does not take a very long time. Sometimes it does, but this beehive was found 75 feet beneath the surface, which, also leads to how long has it been there? Was there some kind of mass catastrophe around the world, which obviously there was, that petrified things doing right what they were doing, making honey? Like the queen chick, she was, like they said, almost petrified, giving her constituents orders or something. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like this in these old newspapers, and I literally have so many of them, some very, very interesting ones that I'm going to be presenting soon. So if you do like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be putting out videos a lot more often. All right, thank you, and have a great day.